Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. So today's webinar is powered by SocialBeat and DigiGrad. So SocialBeat is a fastest growing digital marketing agency in India, and digital marketing training initiative by SocialBeat is DigiGrad. So we will be talking about the topic for today's session, which is how to establish an organic social media strategy, which will be presented by Ms. Anchal Daga. And I will briefly start with the introduction of Ms. Anchal, and after that we'll move to the session. Anchal, she's a social media trainer and a consultant with more than 4 years of experience in social media marketing. And she's a SocialBeat alumnus and has also worked with brands like Malabar Gold and Diamonds, Dr. Mohan's, Royal Sundarams, Featherlight, Developer Forum, Sujana Mall, Funds India, and Tifara. So a lot of other brands she has got the experience of working with. And she has also done her executive education in management from IIM Bangalore and her engineering from Anna University. So Anchal, over to you. Please start the session and let us, thank you.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible now.
Great. Thank you so much, Ria, for the lovely introduction. And it's such a pleasure to, it's such a pleasure to be here and be a part of DigiGrad and, take this opportunity of explaining all of you about the organic social media strategy. So very good evening to all of you. And I hope this, I have tried and kept the slides as engaging as possible. So you all can sort of, ask questions in the live chat, and post which Ria would be taking up the questions. So starting with establishing, so today's session is going to be about how to establish an organic social media strategy. So we'll be discussing on concepts which you can implement for your social media game. So to begin with, all right, so before we get into, social media strategy, let's understand why do we first need a social media strategy. First of all, we need a social media strategy to build a strong presence. We need to be available online. We need to, as a brand or as a startup, for your presence that you exist and you deal with a certain level of product or an industry, you need an online presence for that. B, to save time. If you do not have a social media strategy in place, you do not know which post will going out live when will your content be coming out live, what campaigns will you be doing, whether you'll be missing on important dates or not. So all of that saves a lot of time if you have a social media content calendar and strategy in place, making sure your goals are covered. So I'm sure with every businesses, there's different social media goals. And even nowadays, people have started to keep individual social media goals as well. So all of us are here in social media for different goals. So if we do not have a strategy in place, we might miss out on our goals. Second is target your audience more effectively. So if we do not understand more about our audience, we will not be able to relate that in our content and relate that in our number of posts. So to also understand your audience, what they like to see on internet, what kind of content they're liking and engaging with. So it's really important to have a social media strategy for that. Leaving room for creativity and for a better content. Now, once we've understood that this is what our particular target content that they like reading, we might be able to be more and refine that content for them so that their consumption, so that they sort of get interested in reading our consumption. All right. So definitely having a social media strategy helps in creativity as well. And the final and the last, which is very important, is staying ahead of the competition. Once we know what is working well in our social media, once we know what is performing well, what kind of content is giving us particular conversions, what kind of post is giving us that reach that we want, helps us stay ahead of the competition. We are able to reach out to our audience more and increase our followers and turn them into customers more. So with all these reasons, I believe all of you are convinced that we really need to learn what a social media strategy is. All right, so diving deep into it. So first of all, what is a social media strategy? It is a summary of everything you want to do and you want to achieve in your social media. All right. It also helps you track of how successful you're being at it and how you're playing the social media game. Right. So that is a definition of social media strategy. And in today's webinar, I'm going to explain you the strategy via several steps. So let's So let's get inside the steps and understand each step very clearly. So that will help you frame the perfect strategy you're looking for your brand, right? So going inside these steps to create a social media strategy. So there are 7 steps which we'll be discussing today in detail. So starting with the social media goals and then understanding your target audience, moving on to choosing that particular platform where your target audience is available, then doing the social media audit of your company as to what is working well and what is not working well, optimizing your profile, all right, in terms of reaching out to your target audience, and also creating a content mix, understanding what works in social media, what is that kind of a content that does well versus what is that type of a content, that you can sort of use in your social media. We'll also be learning how to frame a social media content calendar. We'll also be discussing different types of content which you can use in your social media strategy. So all of that we'll be discussing in social media content mix and trends. And finally, we'll be also discussing on how do you track all your efforts? How do you sort of get through the insights and how do you review your social media game month on month so that it helps you plan better for the next month? All right. So these are the 7 steps in which we'll be starting with each one of them and then, understanding and sort of seeing it also. How do we implement it practically? So I'll be taking you through the concepts as well as some practical implementation for you to, really able to relate with it. All right. So moving on to social media goals. So the first beginning, before we even frame a strategy, let's understand our goals. Let's understand why we want to be on social media. So before this slide is very important, because if you guys do not decide what is your particular goal, then the next steps that I'll be teaching you, you guys won't be able to relate with it. So I would request you all to sort of think while I'm taking you through as to what is your social media goal or what is your client's social media goal. That will sort of give you a lot of context to relate to my other slides. All right. So there are 4 different kind of social media goals. The first one is growing the brand for awareness. You sort of want to be on social media to increase your followers, to increase your shares. So a lot of startups who have just begun, and a lot of companies who have just joined digital because of COVID, like a lot of Kanjivaram silk wholesalers, have recently reached out to me that we want to have a digital presence because they were not able to sort of because of the pandemic, they were not able to move out of their shops. So a lot of people who are new to digital and a lot of people who are sort of starting up, venturing out, their major goal to be on social media is to grow their brand, is to get their awareness. So that is your goal number 1. Moving on to the second goal, which is turning your customers into advocates. You really want your customers to spread the brand voice. You really want happy customers. You really want satisfied customers. You want to engage with them. You sort of want to want them to comment, like, mention you. So that is your another reason why brands be on social media. So if you see brands like Malabar Golden Diamonds, Practo, and Mintra, etc., one of the reasons they also want to be on social media is to keep a touch with their audience, keep a touch with their customers, really understand their mentality of what they are liking versus what they are not liking, what they are interacting more with. All right. So a lot of these brands want to be on social media purely for engagement, so that they can sort of listen more to their customer, make them quite satisfied, and turn out a result that they go and spread the brand voice for them. All right. So that is another goal. Also, the third important goal, which a lot of brands want to be on social media, is to drive leads and sales. They want to get conversions. They either want more more orders from social media, or they want more leads from social media. So a lot of B2B companies like Freshworks, Zoho, even e-commerce companies like Boat, Netmeds, PropShop24, all of these people want to be on social media to get more orders and to get more businesses. So that's another major important goal why brands want to be on social media. And finally, but one of the most important goal, which I think a lot of brands are here, is because of improving customer retention. They want to really they want really customers to be a part of their brand, be loyal to them. They also want to understand their sentiments, whether they are enjoying the experience of the brand or not. So one good example is one of the client that I worked for is Forum Sujana Mall. So they really wanted to check if their audience is enjoying the mall experience, if they have any certain issues with any shop, or if they have any sort of an entertainment experience or issue that they have that they really want, Forum Sujna Mall to know. So their major idea to be on social media was to, track the sentiments of their audience, to ensure that people who love Forum Sujna retain it and they keep visiting their mall again and again for different events. Even a healthcare client that I handled called Dr. Mohans, they were also very keen to know that if a patient has had any negative experience while they were, while they were in the Dr. Mohan's hospital, or where they were not able to reach out to a doctor. So all these brands kind of take social media as a gateway to connect with them, and they really want to retain happy customers. So that is another reason why these brands want to be on social media. Again, these are 4 goals. It is okay to have more than one goal depending upon what you really want. So, sort of think through it. What are your particular social media goals? It can be more than one. That's completely fine. All right. So now once we are clear with our social media goals, moving on to the second step, which is understanding the target audience. Now you really know what your goal is. Either it's awareness, or it's driving leads, or it is, engaging with the audience, or it is just customer retention. Then you really look at understanding your target audience. Now, again, before I explain what a target audience is, let me first be clear, why are we understanding target audience? Because if we do not know who our audience is, and if we do not know what they want to see on social media, then we lose the entire game, right? So we really want to understand who the person is, what kind of content they like seeing, what kind of content they like commenting and engaging with. And it is also very critical if we want to convert these followers into customers. All right. So it's very, very important and crucial to understand the target audience. That will really, really help us in the upcoming steps. All right. So moving on to how do you sort of understand your target audience? So I have so we will see a practical example of how you can sort of list down your target audience and understand what they are. All right. So here is an example of a target audience analysis I've done for an organic protein bar. So basically, the company has done has basically written down who their target audience is in terms of demographics, psychographics, challenges, the preferred channels they prefer in, and the preferred content types. All right. So what is demographic? Demographic is as simple as understanding their age, their gender, their location that they come from their particular interest or not. Psychographics is basically their mentality, their mindset towards your product. All right. Challenges is what challenges are they facing with respect to your field. Preferred channels are channels that they are quite active on. All right. And preferred content types, when they are on social media, what is that content type that they like? All right. So these are the different things you can write down for your brands and list down the points which will really help you frame your social media strategy. So for the protein bar, the demographic that works really well is in an age range of 18 to 35. The genders are pretty much 50-50. The psychographics is they really want to eat nutritious food and sustainable food, but they're not always successful. They love hanging out and with their friends and trying out new places, and which are more closely linked to their nature. With respect to brands, they are loyal to brands, who they sort of are able to relate with. The kind of challenges they have with healthy eating is they are not able to find much options. They have a limited food budget because all of them are earning people. And they also need a protein source that is very compact, that they can take to their workplaces, or they can sort of take when they are hanging out. All right. So these were the challenges this particular target audience was facing. The preferred channels that they're on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And also they follow influencers, they watch reviews, they follow health gurus and all that. So that is their online activity. The kind of content type that they prefer is social media posts, videos, and they also look forward to going for events that Facebook shows to them. So this is an example of how you sort of list down who your target audience is in terms of demographics, psychographic challenges, preferred channels, and preferred content type. Once you're done with this, you have a clear understanding of who you're talking to in your social media. You have a clear understanding of who you're trying to reach out to. Instead of just coming up with something, you have a clear goal that this is the kind of person you're trying to reach out to. All right. Another thing you can also do to understand your target audience is you can create a vector and list down things about them, like what products they buy, what content they download, what venues they have checked into, what are the searches they do, what are the blog articles they have read, what are the websites they frequently visit, what are the influencers they follow. So sort of creating this sort of a vector way, or you can sort of list it down in points. This will definitely help you to understand who your exact target audience is, right? So now we are clear with our social media goal. We are also clear with what kind of audience we are trying to reach out to, their age group, and what their mentality is. Now we are understanding which platform should we be on. Right? It's very, very important to choose our social media platform, because there are many social media platforms today, and understanding where your target audience is very, very important. So now I'm going to take you through just an intro of all these social media platform, and then we'll be discussing as to which platform that will your brand should actually be in. All right. So starting with Facebook, the reason why Facebook is today one of the biggest social media company. It has also Instagram and WhatsApp with it, which definitely gives it a large reach, and a lot of businesses are present in Facebook today, from B2B to B2C. The kind of content that goes well on Facebook is of videos, links, and event information kind. And Facebook also has a set of people who are decision makers. If you see nowadays, a lot of people, a lot of our youngsters and millennials crowd are transferring from Facebook to Instagram, which again makes Facebook a place where there are a lot of decision makers. That's why a lot of brands want to advertise on Facebook. Second is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very professional driven. All right. It has a lot, it is an app for a professional network. So the kind of content that does well there is LinkedIn articles, video, and people sort of share case studies there, news, best practices, tips and tricks. They want to establish a thought leadership in a company. So if you want to target audience who are very professional driven, and if you have such kind of a content, then LinkedIn is the right choice for you. Moving on to Instagram. Instagram is definitely a mobile first platform, and it is a very, very visual platform. A lot of photos and videos go trending there. A lot of big luxury clients are active on Instagram. And apart from them, a lot of B2C clients are also active on Instagram. So what kind of goes trending over there is photos and videos. Recently, we have seen the introduction of Reels and IGTV video. And with the lockdown, if you guys have seen, a lot of seminars and webinars have been streamed in Instagram as well. So Instagram is definitely a very powerful social media platform. All right. Moving on to Twitter. Twitter is very conversation oriented. It is majorly used for conversation. A lot of celebrities and a lot of public figures want to be active on Twitter so that they can, share their opinion. A lot of brands also want to show their thought leadership in Twitter. It is really, really powerful. Even in terms of customer testimonials, a lot of customers reach out to brands on Twitter, and brands are very, very active on Twitter and replying back to them. It is basically used for storytelling, and anything trending that's going on, audience is really, really active on Twitter. All right. Moving on to Pinterest. Pinterest is again a platform where you can get new ideas, and you can discover new things. So it's a very discoverable platform. Users sort of pin images and quotes once they're part of Pinterest, and they kind of post photos and link. So if you are in that particular industry where your products are really, really great looking, and you have good blog posts, and it is the most platform to be in. All right. So again, we've discussed a couple of social media platforms. It's not a good idea to be everywhere. Otherwise, it may sound a lot of work, and you might not be able to play the social media game rightly. So how do you really choose as to which social media platforms you have to be in? It is completely fine to be in more than one platform, but it all matters upon where your audience is, what time do you have with respect to the social media effort you're willing to put forward to, and what resources you have. So when you talk about audience, whether your target audience will be available in Instagram, or whether your target audience will be available in Facebook, if you have time of devoting an hour every day on social media, or more than that, right? So you also need to see as to how much of social media efforts you're willing to put forward if you want to stay on more than 2 or more than 3 social media platforms. Then it also depends upon your resources. You need to post quality content, right? It is not a good idea to keep posting repetitive content, then you'll get a lot of unfollowers. So it's very important to have resources in a way that you can keep posting quality content on your social media. So considering your audience, your time, and your resources, please decide which social media platforms you want to be a part of. All right. So this helps you to streamline and pick and choose which social media platform you will be active, and you will be posting frequently, and you will be planning, auditing them and reviewing them frequently. All right. Yes. So moving forward to some Q&A, you guys can sort of give the answers in your live chat. So I have a question. What platforms do you think a B2B company like Zoho or Freshwork will be a part of? Like, we discussed a lot of social media platforms, right? So I want you all to think a B2B company like Zoho or Freshworks, if you guys know, what kind of platforms will they stay active on, right? Yeah. So if you look at the answer, a B2B company will usually prefer LinkedIn because it's more professional driven, and you get more sales. Even Twitter, because it's all about thought leadership. And if you see, Instagram, Pinterest all come towards the end for a B2B industry, whereas LinkedIn is dominating, and Twitter and the rest of them are dominating. Now, if you look at a B2C company like Myntra, again, a question: what do you think a B2C company like Myntra will be a part of, right? So again, try entering in the live chat if possible, or is just think about it in your head as to what social media platform will a company like Myntra be in, like a B2C company. All right. So the answer to it is, a B2C company will prefer social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram more, and LinkedIn is coming down. All right. Then the other social media keeps jumbling up. All right. So to sum up, if you see B2B versus B2C, B2B prefers LinkedIn, and then B2C is more active on Instagram, Pinterest, and and on the other apps. And then there is a sync between both of them. There's a common app which both of them are in, which is Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So this vector representation helps you figure out that it's not necessary to be in all social media platforms. Depending on which industry you're in, you can pick and choose which social media platform you want to be in. It's a lot of B2B companies only use LinkedIn, and they are getting amazing results. And a lot of companies are just active on Instagram, and it's completely fine for them to not be active on LinkedIn. So there is no game or rule as such that if you're not active in all social media platforms, then you're not playing this game right. There's no such rule like that, right? So kind of pick and choose which social media platforms you want to be in, depending upon your industry, upon your kind of a work area and workspace, right? Yeah. So now, if you guys have seen, we've discussed the social media goal as to why we want to be in social media. Then we have discussed our target audience. How do we identify our target audience? And then we have also seen as to what kind of social media platforms we want to be in, right? We have picked and chosen that our target audience is available more on LinkedIn or more on Instagram. Moving on to social media audit. All right. So once you're done with these three, then we are going to do a social media audit to get a correct strategy out there. So first of all, what is a social media audit? It is basically evaluating your accounts. It's basically understanding what is working well till now. What are your followers? What kind of content do they like watching? You're sort of reviewing your social media account as of today, and it also helps you reach your business goals, right? Social media goals. Once you know where you are at, you'll be able to take actions in a way that you're able to reach to a particular social media goal. So a social media audit is very important to evaluate your current account, and to also set in the strategies to reach to your social media goals. All right. So I have given a simple table across how you can do a social media audit. So first of all, you list down the channels that you want to stay active on, be it Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, or whatever. Then you sort of write what kind of content does well there according to your channel. What is dominating, what is doing well, and then also list down the frequency. How frequently are you posting it? Is it once in a week? Is it once in a month? Or is it once in 2 months? And then you write on your performance metric as to what has been the engagement rate, what has been your average likes in a post, what has been your average shares. So when you take a particular post live, what are the social media metrics average you will get out of it, be it in Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, the number of mentions and likes and comments in Twitter versus the followers in Instagram. So it varies. These performance metric varies for all different social media channels. Now, once you've written down all of these, Then you also, study your competitors, and then you write down your opportunities as to what your competitor is doing and what else can you do. What it could be adding more hashtags. It could be sort of trying a different kind of a content. It could be the content mix is not right. So you sort of list down your opportunities as well after you've studied your account and also compared it with the competitor account. Then you list down the opportunities you have with respect to your account, right? So this is a very easy table, and it will sort of help you understand as to where you're currently standing and what are your opportunities that you have. What is it that you can do better? This will help you plan your social media strategy much more in a better way. All right. So yes, once we are done with our social media audit, then we'll be moving on to profile optimization. All right. So why is it important to optimize our profile? Simply because profile optimization helps our customer to reach out to us in a much more shorter way. If we do not have a profile optimized, if you have not listed right call to actions and right website links, and we have not connected our accounts, then it's very difficult for an interested customer or a follower to reach out to us. All right. So there are 5 steps to optimize your profile. We'll be discussing each one of them, and I'll be giving you live examples as to which brand has done a good job in each one of them, so that all of you all can, relate to what do I exactly mean by, call to actions, or what do I exactly mean by having uniformity in profile descriptions. All right. So yes, let's get into each one of them one by one. So starting with branded cover photos and background images. All right. So the first thing, that comes across in your page in front of you is your cover picture and your logo of the brand. So it's very important that you make it very eye catchy. Now, if that is not eye catchy, none of your audience is going to stay on your place. So one community that does a very good job is Chumbak. They have a very good logo, and their cover picture is very, very intriguing. They have given a call to action right there that you cannot leave the page. So they've written join the with Chumbak community, and it's very nicely, the color combination is very nice. There's a sync between the cover picture and logo, and yet they are different. A lot of times I see companies sort of, just taking the same cover picture as their brand logo, or just writing Chumbak there. I want you all to come and think of a creative cover picture in a way that kind of is eye catchy and very attention oriented. All right. So this is one brand, one of the brands that do a great job in having a nice cover picture and logo. Moving on to linking your other social media platform. So SocialBeat has done a great job in sort of linking all their social media platforms. This definitely helps them, this definitely helps a customer understand that they are present in so many social media channels. They don't have to, go to each channel and see that, okay, are they there on Instagram or are they there on YouTube? You can just see it right there. And it also helps them to kind of, explore the other social media platform also. So let's say if I'm a follower and I've sort of I'm in their Facebook right now, but I also want to check out their Instagram. I can just click the link and go there, and I can also check out their YouTube videos. So it gives me a lot of accessibility to, reach out to them, to sort of explore them as such. So giving as many social media platforms that you are a part of in each social media platform helps your audience to commute from one platform to another platform, and increases your customer loyalty rate. Now, when I see a brand is, active in these many social media platforms and has given their links, my loyalty towards that brand just increases. All right. So that is another reason why it is important to have links of other social media platforms in your page. All right. Again, link to your main website. Now, if you just write a catchy bio and you're just taking content live, but there is no link to your website, or there's no link to your particular blog or something like that, then it's just very incomplete. Your profile just becomes very incomplete. So if you look at Forest Essentials, they have sort of given a proper links in all their different social media handles, which makes their customers reach out to them. Let's say if I like a particular post, now if I want to go shop that on website, I can just hit on the link in the bio section of Instagram and just go and shop it. Or I can just go to their social media and just go to their website link and, go to their website and shop it. So this helps in their customer retention, and it also helps in increasing their customer base. All right. Next is call to actions. Also, having a good call to action in your bio is important for people to take actions. Remember that the attention time span of your audience is just reducing day on day. So you legit have to convince them or give them very catchy words that they want to take action on. Like if you look at Prop Shop, they've written a nice bio, and then there is a keywords for the audience to understand. Okay, they deal with home, stationery, fashion, and lots more. And then there's shop here, and then there's a link. So you can have also in their Instagram profile, they have written different ways an audience can sort of get in touch with them to purchase an order or to raise a query or to understand about a particular order. This sort of helps them get more orders and conversions, which is their social media goal. So you can also add buttons like download, book now, login now, sign in, buy now, all this on your social media to increase the number of conversions that you're looking for. All right. Yes. So uniformity in profile description. So as we all know that we are not just going to be active in one social media, we have decided to be active on more than one, but not all of them, but some of them, right? So it's very important to be uniform across all. For example, DigiGrad has been quite uniform in the way their communication tone is from Instagram, LinkedIn to Facebook. They have sort of, in each post, they have portrayed themselves as a premier digital training institute, from Facebook about to the LinkedIn about, where they're talking about, primer digital marketing e-learning platform, to their Instagram, which says primer edtech company focused on digital marketing. So the communication is quite synchronized across all the platforms. This really helps in brand recall also. Let's say if I'm just scrolling through LinkedIn and if I just come across DigiGrad and, with just seeing their bio, I'm like, yeah, I've read this somewhere, I know about them because I've seen them on Instagram or somewhere else. So it's very, very important that you sort of be uniform across all social media. It's not necessary to just copy paste the same bio, but the words and the tone of the voice is quite constant across all the three social media platforms, and yet they are unique in one way. All right. So having a uniformity in keywords and uniformity in what kind of communication you're giving to your audience is very important. It really, really helps them in the brand recall. A lot of brands don't do it right, and because of which customers are very confused that is this their official account, or is this really the account that I'm talking to? So to avoid all that, it is very important to stay uniform. All right. So again, summing up with the profile optimization, it is branded cover photos. Like I told you for Chumba, branded, the cover picture and logo needs to stand out. They need to be very eye catchy. Otherwise, people are just not going to, go through your feed. Linking your social media profiles is important because that helps for a follower to commute from one platform to other and also increase the loyalty rate towards your brand. Link to your main website is important. Otherwise, you're kind of losing in your social media goal, which is to either get more conversions or to get more awareness and all of that. You're not allowing your customer to explore the entire services or product you're going to provide. Having a call to action is again very important. Otherwise, they are quite lost as to what do they do with your profile. What do they do when they come to Crop Shop, or what do they do when they come to Myntra, right? So having a call to action really, really helps them take action quickly. And again, uniformity in profile is very important for brand recall. So these are 5 basic points. If you do, will help you optimize your profile in a very, very effective way, and it will help your social media strategy as well, right? So yes, we have covered 5 things as of now, starting with social media goal as to why we want to be on social media, understanding our target audience, who we are talking to, what kind of content we'll be producing for, what kind of products and services, we are kind of sell out to. Then we sort of spoke about choosing the platform, which platforms we want to be a part of. All right. So if I'm a B2B company who's just selling protein bars, it doesn't make sense for me to be on, Pinterest, or it doesn't make sense to me be on Snapchat. So then, I'll sort of choose very smart platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and YouTube for my health review. So we sort of saw we sort of saw the choosing of our social media platforms. Then we did a social media audit to understand where we currently stand and what are the opportunities that we have to reach our social media goal. And now we've also seen our profile optimization, like what are the essentials we need to have in our social media pages so that our audience does not just come to our page and leaves back. They sort of engage with our page, they sort of make purchases on our page, or they sort of inquire about a particular service of ours. All right, moving on to after discussing these, we are moving on to the sixth step of our social media strategy, which is the content. So, guys, do you realize, like, before we even get to content, there are 5 steps that you take, then you sort of discuss the content. One thing that people really do it wrong is they directly start about content planning when it comes to social media. What kind of posts they have to take live, what kind of campaign they can think of, what kind of virality they want to do. So something that people do really wrong is not set these 5 steps right in their social media strategy, which is exactly why we have sort of understood as to why it's important. And now we have come to content. All right. So again, content is the king. Content is the main part of your social media strategy. This is your exact, this is your catch. This is why your audience is following you. This is why they want to be a part of you. They're listening to you, or they are making, or they're even trying to even explore you on your social media. All right. So moving on to social media content mix and trends, let's understand what is the kind of content that does well across the social media. So content like, which is very inspirational, which is very awestruck, which is very new, which is very shareable, which is something that, you can discuss about, does really well on social media. Even memes, funny memes around trends, around political trends, around things that are, whether it is a TikTok video or something, which creates laughter, does really well on social media. So these are the major 2 things that does well on social media. And then there are these others, which is a mix of emotions. All right. This is very important to understand as to what is exactly working right today on social media. Moving on to content distribution. So now there are basically 6 type of content you guys can, you guys can come up with for your social media and keep your audience engaged with. So I'll be taking you all across the different content buckets you have in a social media, and what kind of, how can you be creative with each one of them. I'll also be showing you examples of brands, how they have leveraged that particular content bucket and really connected with the audience, really made an impact, really, up their social media metrics by generating beautiful content. And after we decide that, after we sort of explore all these different kind of content, I'm also going to take you across how do you do your content planning. What is the mix that you keep of these different content, what is a rule that you can follow in your social media calendar to have a very good strategized calendar. And I'll also be showing you a social media calendar template that I follow for my clients, and it has really helped me and my clients to be on the same page to understand what is going on in their social media game. All right. So this is with respect to the content mix and trends. I hope you guys are, like, finding this quite exciting, because it definitely is the main catch of your social media strategy. All right. Yes. So moving on with the content distribution, there are 6 kind of content buckets that we are going to explore. And these are the kind of content buckets that you need to have in your social media calendar when you plan every month. All right. Starting with inspiration. Inspiration could be quotes, or could be facts, or any kind of awards or circulates, you've got. Then you can also do education related posts, which could be your infographics, which could be your research, which could be your industry tips and tricks, or an industry practice that you have. Then you also have your conversation post, which could be your questions, which could be your polls, which could be your, which could, you're asking people to agree with you or disagree with you. Then you also have your promotion related posts, that could be your webinars, that could be any sale that you have, any offer that you want to push, or any product that you want to push. Then you have your connection, where you're sort of going to, share in customer testimonials. You're sort of going to share in people really using your product, and you're kind of making a connect with the audience with them. So these are the 6 different content buckets that you can have for your social media game. And these 6 content buckets, you can sort of plan out content every month and have a very structured social media strategy for your coming month. All right. So I'll be giving you moving on to some examples from for each content bucket. First is entertainment content. If you look at Zoom, they sort of did a post for the New Year's, which said summarizing the first working day of 2021. Like, since all of us have been work from home from the last Feb and March of 2020, it's quite monotonous, and that's how the first day of 2021 looks like. Then also Microsoft did a post of how all the online meetings are, where you just enter, you mute, you unmute, you mute, you unmute, and then you say thank you and goodbye. All right. So these are the kind of entertainment contents which brands have come out to sort of engage with their audience. All right. Moving on to inspiration content. In International Tea Day, brand like Parle-G did a wonderful, very simplistic yet very intriguing post of the biscuit just going inside the chai and the steaming of the chai coming out. Another brand sort of played that chai is the bingo for all of these issues, which is headache, stress, creative block, mood swings. So these kind of creatives just give you an inspiration. You sort of do want to drink a chai, and since it's being the chai time, I'm sure all of you, after seeing these creatives, want to have a cup of tea, because of these wonderful ideas that brands have come out with. Also, brands like Skoda for International Men Day did a wonderful inspirational quote about, celebrating all the roles you shift to effortlessly for a man, which is son, husband, father, professional, legend. It is a very inspirational post, which a lot of people can share it with their family members or with their fathers and all of that. All right. Now, since we all know there were exams and there were semesters coming up, Swiggy sort of, did a periodic table for snacks to inspire their young audience that, hey, it's very easy to memorize a periodic table. They related the periodic table to food, like BR was burger, SA was samosa, and all of that. So these are the kind of inspirational content brand came up with. Then there are these education content. So brand like Forest Essential, before they introduce a product, they sort of explain as to from where it has come. So what is the story behind the product? Who have sort of used it? Who has sort of, which particular ingredient has been added? So they kind of make educational grids around each product, and each product box they sort of curate. And trust me, it is such a beautiful feed that after seeing that, you will feel like, okay, I should buy at least one Forest Essential product for the kind of explanation that they have for each product. And another brand that I handled called Dr. Mohan's, we kind of gave an educational content from him to the diabetic patients that these are the goals you should have: following your diet, working out every day, taking meditation, taking medications on time, regular health checkup. So all of these were educational content done by different clients. Then there were conversation content. Brands like Swiggy did, office lunch then versus office lunch now. Initially, it was 60% my food, then it was colleague food, then it was canteen food. Whereas in the home lockdown, it's just like, kaam baki hai. That's the kind of lunch that you're having. And a brand called as Dines Out did this post on Karwa Chauth, moons out, spoons out. So they kind of, converse with the ladies, asking them that, are your spoons out because the moon is out, in such a trending way. All right. Then there's promotion content like DigiGrad, for example, does the webinar invite that they had, and then Mintra does the sale invite. These are all comes under the promotion content category. Then there is connection content. Connection content is about, a brand like Chumbak sort of does a product photo shoot of, actually using that product. So seeing these posts, you can kind of relate to the brand, that you can sort of use them for gifting, or you can sort of, just stay there with that, with their quirky furniture around. And even a skincare brand like Bubble Farm, sort of did like how amazing it is to apply their products. So these are the connection kind of content you build with your audience by showing them real-time pictures of someone using their products, So this is connection content. All right. So we've understood the 6 different types of content. Now I'll be taking you across the content mix rules. So I have 2 rules for you. You can either choose the 80-20 rule, or you can take the rules of third, depending upon the resources and the time and the audience, as we discussed earlier. So the 80-20 rule says that 80% should be about the 6 posts and 20% can directly promote your post. Rule of thirds say that 1/3 is for your business promotion, 1/3 is for ideas and thoughts, 1/3 is for personal interactions. So this is a beautiful way which I've been following across my clients to sort of, create a social media content calendar, which is quite effective for them. I've covered all the different kind of posts and I've also promoted their products accordingly. So these rules have really helped me to make their social media look very unique and different from their competitors. So you guys can also try this. All right. Yes. So as promised, I'll be sharing my calendar format with you all, which has worked with my clients. It's a very easy calendar format. And trust me, even the clients sort of do relate with it. So it has a date of schedule. It has the campaign name. It has the social media platform. And it has it. So date of schedule is when the creative is going to go live. Campaign name is basically what is your campaign about, whether it's about Pongal, whether it's about Republic Day, it's your New Year's, it's your Christmas, or what is it. Social media platform is which platform will I be taking that creative live, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube. The type of creative, is it going to be a GIF? Is it going to be a video? Is it going to be a static? Is it going to be an IGTV post? Is it going to be Reels? So all that you listed down. Then you have your image copy. Image copy is something that goes on the top of the creative, and caption is the description below the image. All right. So you have everything in place, and then if there's any references the client has shared, or you want to show it to client that this is what I want the post to look like, you can add the links there. All right. So this is a beautiful way where this has sort of worked with me across all my clients, and it does help. It does help the client also understand of what is going on there in their social media. They also know when what is going live and how it is going live, what is the format, where it is going live, what is going to be the copy, what is going to be the caption, what are the references, what is it going to look like. So all this really explains the client. All right. Then moving on to our final step, which is your insights and review. Once you have done all these 6 steps, it's very important to study your insights and review it, and then plan out your content bank for the next month. All right. So this is Facebook dashboard, where you can sort of see, the post engagements, your reach, your actions on page, your followers, and even on Instagram, you can sort of go to the insights and you can get the number of posts you have taken live, the number of stories, the IGTV video, overview, what has it been, the number of accounts you have reached, what are your total followers, was there any increase from previous month to this month. You can also look into where is your audience from, which city, what is their age range, what is their gender, what is the time your audience is active on. So there is a lot of insights available in social media. You guys just have to take time, sit with each platform and make notes as to what has been working and what has not, right? So with this, we are done with our 6 steps. Again, summing up to you once again, all the steps. Yes. So this slide, guys, first we discuss the goals as to whether it is awareness, whether it is, just the engagement, whether it is driving leads or sales, or whether it is, just keeping happy customers with you, checking their sentiments. That was your goals. Then it was understanding your target audience, where do they belong from, what is their demographic, what is their age, what is their gender, what is their mindset, what are their challenges, what are the channels they are available on, versus what is it that they like to consume on social media, be it post or video. All right. Then we went on to our platform. We understood why Facebook is good and why LinkedIn is good. And then we saw the vector representation of what works industry wise. LinkedIn works more on a B2B side. Facebook and Instagram and YouTube works more on a B2C slide. This sort of helped us understand as to which social media platforms we want to be a part of. Then we also did a social media audit to understand where we currently stand and where do we want to reach, how our competitors are performing, what opportunities do we have in our social media to really work on them. All right. Then we sort of looked at 5 ways to optimize your profile, 5 must do's that makes your profile stand out, and your audience can reach out to you very easily because of your profile optimization. And also your search has increased more, like in terms of when someone is searching for you, they find you because you have your profile optimized. Then the catch of the entire strategy, which is the main thing, is your social media content mix, where we saw 6 different types of content buckets and we understood each one of them with beautiful examples of brands and how they leverage that particular content bucket. And then we saw our insights and review, which will help us understand whether we are playing the social media game right or wrong. All right. Yes. So that's about it. Moving on to questions.
Thank you, Anchal. It was a very insightful session, and I hope our audience also enjoyed and they got a lot of useful, interesting insights about the social media marketing. I'll just see if we have questions in the chat box.
Definitely.
So we do have a few questions. So I'll just start with the first question. What is the source that is used for the target group? So is it any particular source that we use to decide the target group for the strategy?
So there is no particular source. You do study your, you sort of do your audience profiling, like I showed you with your demographics and all that. or you can sort of you sort of research whether what your audience is really doing. You even actually sometimes, we sort of call in, whenever it's an organic protein bar, we sort of go to even college students and talk to them, if they eat a protein bar or not. So sometimes it is even human interaction, that you talk to your friends about it, or you talk to your someone in Facebook or something. You kind of do market research about them. So there is no particular software or tool that will help you. It's more of, you sort of doing your research and understanding it. Though there is SurveyMonkey, which will help you do the insights, but otherwise you can also do these simple things to understand your target audience.
Okay, got it. We do have another question. So can you maybe suggest some good tools which can be used for, like, the right size of images on the social media platform, like we use on Facebook or Instagram, like
Okay.
which can help, like do a very correct size which you have to post on the platform for
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, so I think one of the tools that I particularly use and I recommend is Canva. Canva has different story size. It has a Facebook story, it has a Facebook ad size, it has an Instagram story, LinkedIn cover. So I personally use Canva for sort of, with my clients, to sort of get them the right image size, and when I take their things online. Canva does amazing rule. Apart from Canva, you also have different apps, but I recommend Canva the best.
Okay, thank you. There is another question. How do we choose the hashtags? Is there any paid or free tools to do that?
There's definitely tools for finding your hashtags. You can use keyword tool. You can also use Waterloo. You can use the best hashtag finder tool. Apart from that, you also do your research. You kind of go to Instagram search option and see what hashtags are trending, and you choose the medium size hashtags, because high competition hashtags will not give you that reach, but the medium size will get you that maximum reach. And you also search for, in Instagram itself, you also see for, when you type certain things, Instagram itself will give you some recommendations. So you sort of use a tool as well as do a personal research on Instagram to, finalize your list of hashtags.
Okay. We have another question, like it's also relating to the software. Like, what are the free software for posting on social media and tracking the analytics?
Yeah, Buffer is a free software. It is very easy. There's also Hootsuite, and then Buffer and Hootsuite are two good software in terms of scheduling the post, in terms of tracking the analytics. And Agora Pulse is a wonderful software in terms of tracking as to what has been the analytics, what has been the sentiments about with your customers. And yeah, so basically these three softwares are really good.
Okay. So what are the social media KPIs that can be used to measure social media campaigns performance?
All right. So your key performance indicators depend on your social media goal. Now, let's say if you have conversion as your goal, then it is your number of orders. Now, let's say if your awareness is your goal, then it is the reach and the post engagement. It is your reach, it is your likes, it is your followers increase. If you have engagement as your goal, then it is your post engagement ratio that's there. So depending upon your goal, you track those KPIs. But I think all over, if you see as a social media game, you can track your reach, you can track your likes and followers that are increasing or not. You can see your engagement rate is increasing or not. And you can also see, how many video seconds view has been watched and what kind of content is doing well. So when you look across the insights, the dashboard is a wonderful way which summarizes most of the important metrics.
Okay. Do have few more questions. Like,
Yeah.
one of the question is like, what time and day you should post on the social media?
Okay. So usually weekends and usually weekends and holidays definitely give you a good reach, because a lot of people are active on social media at that time. But but again, it all matters on your brand. There is no correct time and date to it. Let's say if you're a brand like Zomato, then 12 p.m. is the best time for you, because that's when people are ordering food. That's when people are looking at your offers, right? And let's say for an educational client that I'm currently working with, parents are more active in the morning. They want to see, if their kid if there's any exams coming up, or they kind of check out our handles in the morning, right? So, and if it's a jewelry brand, then it's where there is more female audience, then they're more active in the afternoon, all right? So it all depends upon your audience. It all depends when they are active. Another way to really find out what time your audience is active is your Instagram and your Facebook dashboard. They do give you at what time there's a peak of peak of reach in your page. So you sort of first try and out take things ideally in the afternoon and in the weekends and in the holidays, and then after you're done with that, if you're starting up, and then you sort of check your analytics and understand your audience, and then change the timing of posting and all that. And when it comes to the number of posts, which is a part of your question, there is no fixed rule as such like that. It all depends upon your resources that you have. All right. So for an educational client, like, just doing 10 posts a month is more than enough, because there's not a lot to sell. It's more about talking about the thought leadership in education, right? And it's talking about the curriculum. But when it comes to when it comes to an a page like Forum Sujana and all, there are offers happening every day, there's events happening every day, there are different shops that's opening up, so you have a lot of content with you, then even doing like 2 posts a day is okay. So the idea is to post quality content. It's not about the quantity, right? If you keep posting quality content, then you'll keep seeing an increase in followers, and people will follow your page because you post in quality content, right? But at least try and keep 2 posts a week to start with as a strategy. But again, if you do not have that many resources, then even 1 post a week is fine, and even posting once a day is fine. So it all depends upon the resources you have, and it should be more on quality oriented. All right.
Okay, got it. We have one more question. Like, if we are a new brand, then how we can be on top of all social media platforms?
Ria, can you just repeat it? I had a issue.
Yeah, sure. So, if you're a new brand, how can you be on top of the social media platforms?
All right. So first of all, if you're a new brand, then make sure you do your profile optimization very clearly, because since you're new, people want to, people want to see people want to see your website, people want to see your other platforms as well. So to start with optimizing your profile rightly, understanding your TA, just follow the social media steps. Apart from that, I would suggest that keep your posting frequency a little high, because you're new in terms of product explanation. Kind of engage with your audience more, post in a lot of customer testimonials, boost your post more with the right target, with your right location that you're in. Kind of keep doing events, keep doing collaboration with influencers so that your followers increases. And more than anything, try and engage with your audience and see their sentiments. If their sentiments are right, then you will have an increase in followers. So these are a few ways that will help you in an organic reach initially.
So, we do have one more question. Is it necessary to align the content with what is trending? So, if yes, then how to do so?
So definitely you should and any brand or any startup should sort of post content that is trending. Like example, something that was trending is the year 2020. All brands sort of did funny thing and all, that if 2020 was a bike, then it would be a broken bike. If it was a tree, then it would just be a it would just be a leaf where you want to fly it off. So a lot of brands have been leveraging on that trending content. So doing a trending content helps you get good reach, because that's what trending at the moment and people want to see it. And as a brand, you sort of try and relate to it. Like if you saw chai, the International Tea Day, that was very trending. People were making posts around chai. Parleji, which is a biscuit brand, did an amazing post on chai, right? So you sort of try and see how your brand is going to be part of that trend, right? Rather than just talking about the trend, it will not give you that much of appreciation and reach, rather than you connecting with your brand's persona, your brand's identity, and sort of then celebrating the humor with the trend. That would do a lot more impact. All right. So try and have some connect about your brand with the trend. Otherwise, it won't make sense to post on your social media.
Makes sense, yeah. We have one more question. For a startup who is coming into a market which is probably saturated, how can you advise the startup to penetrate and leverage the social media world?
Okay. So that's a beautiful.
Yeah. So you heard the question. Should I repeat it?
No, I got the question as to if the startup is entering into a market that's already saturated, how do they sort of stay different in their social media game?
Yeah.
So it's a very beautiful question, but the answer is quite, like first of all, see what your competitors are doing on social media and do not do that. Like if they are just taking out static posts live, if they're just promoting their products, think of creative ideas. Think of ideas of how your customers will read your content rather than doing the same old. A lot of brands, what do they do is, let's say, an example would be, let's say I'm starting an organic store, all right? I'll just go and check Nature's Basket, or I'll go and check Nilgiri's page, what they're doing, because the market is quite saturated, right? So rather than doing that, I should think of what they are not doing and leverage that. Like a lot of like an account of Nature's Basket is not talking about how eating healthy is helping my immunity growing, and it is something that is the need of the hour. So I leverage on that. When you want to stand out in your social media game, try and be different in your content, try and be different in your designs. Like for an example, another example I have in mind is an app called Practo. So when Practo entered the healthcare phase, all the other competitors were very, very sober on their social media. They were just very quiet, just very quietly talking about their doctors and promoting their healthcare. But you know what Practo did, Ria? They kind of made quirky content. Even if they were talking about a gynecologist, their post was water delivery. They were relating movie dialogues to gynecologists. And even the customer testimonials they posted was with cute vectors, not real pictures. So that's why they were able to up their social media game. It was something very different that the other social media platform was not doing. That's exactly how they dissected their social media, because they came up with very quirky ideas. They came up with a concept that the others are not doing, and at the same time it is very, very interesting, and it is sort of very nice to see them do all those. Their colors were different. They changed their entire design sense. Instead of keeping it very whitish and bluish, they started playing with pastels. So that's something they did as a brand to up their social media game, and they are doing a fantastic job even today.
Okay. So we have another question. So how do you rate Publer for Google My Business?
So Google My Business is a different identity as such. All right. That's something that SEO experts are more known of. It has, it is a social media app, but it is more to do with Google. There are other apps as well for the Google My Business page. So I think it's okay to use, but then it is a different identity as such. Google My Business page and social media are like two different ball game as such. So I think you can give it a try and see, but I think it has other scope, that more than a social media app.
How to organically without promotion increase followers in Instagram with the targeted audience?
Okay. So another way you can, increase your followers is by collaborating with influencers. Let's say if you're based out of, Chennai, like I'm based out of Chennai, and if you like this app, I think I showed you guys one post of Bubble Form, the skincare thing. Yeah, they did a wonderful job, and without promotion, boosting their followers simply by collaborating with influencers. Influencer marketing is very trending. They collaborated with top 5 Chennai fashion influencers, and they got an experimental increase in followers because those influencers spoke about Bubble Farm on their social media handles. They spoke about in a very nice way of how the product is very good. So this is one of the ways organically to increase your followers on Instagram.
Okay. So another question is, do you advise more organic and less promoted content, or you should find a balance between both? And if then, what percentage would you advise to be given to the both?
Okay, so I think a balance between both is good, because just doing the paid promotion and not doing organic things will just make your social media game too dicey. So I think a balance between I would recommend a balance between both. Now, if it is boosting a certain post, then I would say that watch that. Let's say if you've taken a post live right now, all right, and if you think it's important, let's say it's your infographic or it's a particular product launch you've done, if you think it will affect your social media goal, then watch it organically for a week, see if it is organically doing well. Watch all the posts that are organically doing well, and then choose among them which one you want to post. All right. So if you've just taken a social media post, let's say let's say there is an let's say if this webinar event, if you Ria, if you wanted to post my webinar event, I'd recommend you to sort of take it a week before, see organically if it is doing good, if there's another post which talks about what we are going to talk about, and then which is organically performing well, post that, because organically it is already doing well, then boosting it would really help. So before boosting a post, really check if it's organically doing well. If it is organically doing well, it has more chances to do great when it's boosted. All right. And how much to boost all depends on what you're looking at. Let's say if you're looking at a particular number of traction, then that much money you will sort of allocate to it. If you're looking at, let's say you want 1,000 people to join the webinar, then that is that amount. You kind of back calculate it, and then you sort of allocate a budget for it. So there is no fixed rule key you have to boost for 1,000 rupees or you have to boost for 2,000. It all depends upon your goal of the event or of your outcome of taking that thing live.
Okay. So we have question from Ninant Patak. He's asking, do you use TGI or ComScore or GWI? Is there something like a tool, or is it? I'm not sure.
No, I don't use any of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have one question from Priyanka Mandal. She is asking, are giveaways a good way for increasing the reach?
Giveaways are a good way to increase your engagement and your reach also, but it is majorly for engagement. Now, every time you take a contest post live, or every time you want a lot of likes, a lot of shares, a lot of comments, especially, and a lot of people to engage with your particular post. Giveaways really help, because that gives people the motivation to interact with your content. All right. So a lot of brands do the giveaways just to increase their engagement. And if you increase your engagement, then your reach of the post automatically increases. All right. So let's say if a post is having a reach of 1,000, but if it has more engagement, the reach will just exponentially keep on increasing day by day, depending upon your quality of engagements. So definitely the reach, or definitely your giveaways help in increase of engagement and therefore the reach as well.
Okay. I think we don't have any more questions in the chat box. So I would really like to thank you for the wonderful and very insightful session. So, and also for answering all the questions. So it was very useful for us. And I would also like to request the audience to please fill up the feedback form given in the chat box. So that would really help us to improve the further sessions. And yeah. So thank you everyone for also joining today's webinar and taking out time to ask all the questions. And thank you, Anchal, so much once again for taking the today's session.
Thank you, Ria, for this amazing opportunity to be a part of DigiGrad and explain my experiences with you all. It's been a lovely experience, and I hope all of you have sort of understood why it's important to have a social media strategy. And I'm really waiting for you all to quickly get started with your social media game. And wishing you all the best. And yeah, stay safe and be blessed. Happy New Year to all of you.
Same to you, Anchal. Thank you so much for the session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.